A very good morning, and thanks for clicking on to Vogan's UK, Europe, and Global Outlook. It is Wednesday, the 18th of May, from a sunny, breezy Larkhall in South Lanarkshire. Tell you what, there's a place that I would rather be at the moment, and that is Sevilla, down in the south of Spain. I want to wish the mighty Glasgow Rangers all the very best for tonight, the final of the Europa League, and it is going to be a cracker of a game. Certainly, it is a dream for many people to see Rangers back in a major European final. Of course, the last time that Rangers was in the final was, of course, the former UEFA Cup, and that was back in 2008. So we're going to get another bite at the cherry once again, and let's see if we can make it across the line this time around. But it certainly is going to be a toasty one indeed. The temperature in Sevilla yesterday was 34.8 Celsius, and the temperature is going to climb higher today, probably. The temperature today, according to the BBC, is expected to hit 35 degrees, and around game time, we will potentially be talking about temperatures still in the 30s, so it is going to be a hot one indeed for both Frankfurt and Rangers through the course of this evening. But certainly we are talking about plenty of heat already starting to build across southern portions of Spain, expecting low 40s by the time we reach the end of the week and into the weekend. In particular, it looks as if the temperatures will peak down around the south central portions of Spain, including Sevilla. We could be seeing temperatures of between 40 and 42 Celsius. Now, the May record for Spain and indeed Europe actually was set back in 2015, where we've seen 42.9 Celsius. I reckon we'll probably fall shy of that, but it might come pretty close actually at the end of this work week. Looking at the current UK radar, we are seeing plenty of showers moving up through the West Highlands at the moment here, pretty much high and dry across England and Wales, across much of Ireland as well. Yesterday it was pretty much a washout actually across parts of Ireland and including Scotland as well, where we're seeing the next wave of showers and thunderstorms lifting northwards. Of course, east of that, where the sun was shining and where we had that prominent southerly wind, we've seen the temperature rise to 27.5 to the west of London at Heathrow yesterday afternoon. We're going to see temperatures probably back into the mid-20s today, and then as winds now start to veer more west to southwest as opposed to southerly, we're going to see the temperatures drop somewhat during the second half of this week here, and into the weekend it looks as if it's going to be relatively unsettled here. So, like I said in recent times, it's not by any means a washout, but where you do get the showers, it can be heavy, it can be torrential, it can produce localized flooding. You can see hail, wind, and frequent thunder and lightning associated with that as well. Once that pushes through, quite often the sun comes back out and temperatures respond very nicely, of course, at this time of the year. But like I've said already, we're on that boundary between cool, fresh, low pressure over the Atlantic, hot, humid air over the European continent, and of course the UK is under that battle zone where waves of energy disturbances running the eastern flank of that trough over the Atlantic were getting hit quite frequently by these showers and thunderstorms. And the GFS 500 millibar height anomaly chart shows that very nicely actually. The ridge, the warmth over Europe, and of course the big deep trough over the North Atlantic. If you look at the 850 millibar temperature anomaly chart, you can see here the fresh air clinging to Ireland, the warmth now starting to get shifted a little bit further east. We're starting to see 850 temperatures coming down quite a bit across western portions of the British Isles. Still got some of that warmth lingering over the far north and northeast of Scotland. Temperatures in the Moray Coast, by the way, could reach the low 20s today with sunshine and that southeasterly wind. Cool, of course, across the eastern portion of the continent here. So as we go to the pressure and precipitation chart here, you can quite clearly see what's going on. So we've got the main low itself 971 millibars out over the Atlantic, and it's like I say, these systems riding the eastern flank of the trough that is causing all the problems. And we've got one wave after another moving through with associated fronts. We've got quite narrow bands of convective thunderstorm activity as well. Those are producing some very gusty winds, frequent lightning, flash flooding in some places, and they're moving through, and we're seeing that clearance taking place here. But you can see here as we press through the loop, generally still high pressure over the European continent, and low pressure over the Atlantic, and there's this attempt at low pressure trying to move in to Europe here, but it's getting resistance off that blocking area of high pressure. But it looks as if we're going to press through the rest of May on a fairly disturbed note. We've got a very back and forth pattern. Once one system clears out, we've got high pressure moves in to replace the gap. Then another system comes in, and you get the overall idea. It's back and forth, and I think that's going to continue towards the early portion of June here, where we do get high pressure and possibly some south to southeasterly winds. Some of the models are indicating we could see some pushes of very warm air indeed getting driven into the pattern here. And I think we're at a crossroads at the moment here in terms of where this early season, early summer pattern may go, because you're starting to kind of wet in the ground to an extent. And, it's going to be interesting to see exactly where the pattern goes. It's a very, very complex scenario, because the Mount-Julian oscillation away thousands of miles down in the equatorial Pacific that is driving increased thunderstorm activity over places such as Indonesia, West Pacific, even parts of the Indian Ocean, that has a massive impact with its release of heat into the atmosphere. That gets tracked north, and of course that alters and shapes the upper air pattern over the mid latitudes and the high latitudes. So the Mount-Julian oscillation, that wave, that pulse of energy that rides around the tropical belt, so to speak, has massive impact on the temperature profile, rainfall distribution, so on and so forth. So these are all aspects that are needing to get very carefully looked at as we go towards the summer season here, and that's something I'm going to be alluding to as we go forward here. Looking at the 850 millibar temperature chart here, you get the overall idea with this back and forth type scenario that I've already alluded to. So as we play through the loop here, you can see here the idea. So we've got, of course, anomalous warmth in recent times over the British Isles. Now we're starting to see that trough push a cooler, fresher Atlantic air towards the UK. It's coming up against the resistance of air coming in off the continent. That's why we're seeing all this convection, all this energy, all this instability in the atmosphere producing the frequent showers and thunderstorms. And there's this battle, so to speak, between warm and cold. Look at this on Saturday. Look at Spain and Portugal in particular. This is why we're seeing temperatures rising into the low 40s here, because what we're going to have is we're going to have a push of Atlantic air over the UK. As you can see here, anomalies below normal at 850, but look at the blossom of heat across Spain, Portugal, southern France. Might even be a pushing that May record, by the way. It's difficult to say, but certainly you would have to be knocking the door of 43 Celsius to challenge the not only Spain but Europe record overall. So we'll keep our eyes on the temperatures across central and southern Spain as we push towards the weekend. But it's going to be interesting to see. And then, of course, you see these pushes of that warm air getting driven up into the UK. But you've always got that presence of Atlantic low pressure trying to, in a sense, stop that northward progression of heat out of Iberia. So we've got this fight, this battle, so to speak, going on at the moment atmospherically, and it's a bit of a tug of war going on with the pattern as we press towards the end of May here. So thanks for clicking on for today's video. I do appreciate it. As always, do drop a comment, and I will hopefully be back again tomorrow with more. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye for now.